Today we're taking a look at Pantasy's retro-themed jukebox, part of their retro collection. It is a very colourful build and it includes music and lights. Overall, this set really surprised me, so let's get into it. But before we jump in, I just want to say thank you to Pantasy for sending me this set for review, and all thoughts and opinions are my own. So this is set number 85020 and it's part of Pantasy's retro theme collection. It has 1,273 pieces and they have labelled it as an advanced difficulty. Not just the build itself, but because it also includes music and lights, as well as a few mechanical features, which we are going to get into. I don't want to give any spoilers away, but this jukebox is more than just a pretty face. So as you can see, here is the jukebox and it lights up really well. Now this was actually my first Pantasy set to include both music and lighting, so it did add a level of complexity because you're now having to route the wires around the build, as well as just build it itself, right? It has some really cool mechanical features as well, which also added a little bit of a challenge, but it wasn't too bad because Pantasy's instructions are very clear and quite straightforward to follow. They also have all of the parts in the numbered bags, which then match the corresponding steps. So it is very, user-friendly, should I say. As I was finishing the build and it all came together, as you can see, it looks great. It felt very rewarding. And a little bonus was the fact I didn't have to place any stickers because Pantasy only have pad-printed tiles in this set, and they are very high quality as well. I think this build looks great. There is tons of detail, loads of play features as well, and personally I was very impressed with it. Now let's take a look at the minifigure. So in this set, you do only get one custom minifigure. However, he is a slick looking jazz performer in a vintage polka dot suit, so it's pretty understandable. The budget was probably all spent on the suit, right? You'll find him chilling in the recording studio, tucked inside the jukebox, but I'm gonna have to show you that a little later on in the video. Design-wise, I do love the vibe that they've gone for here. However, I do wish that the leg articulation allowed for a bit more movement. Like, he is a performer. He should be kicking out that leg or something as he's screaming down the microphone. Either way, I think it's really cool to see Pantasy experimenting with new character styles. We've covered the minifigure and it is time now to jump in and have a closer look at the build, so let's get going. So starting with the design, I think it is spot on. When I hear the word jukebox, this is exactly what comes to my mind. This model is inspired by the iconic 1940s models, complete with the arch top, chrome style accents, and a burst of colourful lights. Now just a heads up, the lighting system does run via a USB, so you do need to have it plugged in for that full glow up. But once it's lit, the front panel seriously steals the show. If we take a look at the top of the jukebox, we have the record player section behind a custom transparent window. If you look to the very back of the record segment, you're also going to see another one, which is again a custom part for this set. Inside you're going to see 4 vinyls, blue, black, yellow and red, representing jazz, R&B, rock and classical. The genre labels next to each play button are also a nice touch as well. So if we push the song selection button in, we're going to trigger a little mechanical sequence that simulates the record being selected and shifted over just to play, almost like the real thing. I think this is super clever. The mechanics for this is great because it also then pops out a reset button once you've chosen the song. If you push the reset button, that's right, the record then resets and you're going to see it pop back to the starting side. It's very simple, but also very satisfying. In terms of the music for this build, you're going to see it on the front of the jukebox, a make selection button. If we press it, we then get a 20-second jazz track through a small speaker inside. It's a nice touch, it's not too loud, and it's also not too gimmicky, which I think is quite important. Just bear in mind though that you're going to have to purchase your own batteries. You do need 3 of them, and the batteries required are LR44 cell batteries. So if you want the music, you're going to unfortunately have to go and buy some batteries. In terms of the coin slot for this build, if we look closely, there is a little 5-cent pad printed tile, and just below it is where you can insert the coin. This is actually a working coin slot, so if you drop one in, it's then going to slide through the jukebox and its internal structure before landing randomly into one of the genre sections at the base of the jukebox. I love this. I think this is a great functional play feature. It brings the jukebox alive. Not just the lights, the music, but the fact that you can then insert a coin. It's genius. Each coin is then printed with the Pantasy logo, and I absolutely love it. It's just one more way that this set turns into something that you actually want to interact with. So if we spin the jukebox around, you're then going to see two big transparent doors, and opening this up will give you access into the jukebox. So let's go backstage. If we open up these doors, we now have access to a hidden recording studio. This is where our little jazz minifigure has set up shop to try and record the next latest jazz album. Inside there is everything he needs. There is a drum kit, microphone, a keyboard, speakers, and also some old school recording gear. I really love that they've incorporated a mini build into this bigger build. The whole section can even slide out of the side via this little side door, which gives you easier access. Also within the interior of the jukebox is a tube style amplifier set up at the top section. In here you're also going to find the speaker responsible for the jazzy tune. It is relatively easy to access, so you can actually just pop it out, unslide it, put some batteries in and put it back in, which I think is very useful because eventually batteries do die and you do have to replace them. But thankfully you don't have to take this set apart to do so. So just below the tube style amplifier is that recording studio which you can remove, so let's take it out, and behind it you're then going to see 3 music genre areas. I think this is a really cool addition as well. It's just an extra layer of detail, but if we place a coin through, you can then see the coins fall through the jukebox, which is really nice. Now, as someone who builds a lot of sets, this one really did stand out to me just because of how interactive it is. You don't just build it and put it on the shelf and forget about it. It actually makes you want to play with it because it does light up. It does also play that music. And also the fact that you can drop coins in, open up the internals, and then you've got some more play features to it. It's really great. It's just got so much personality. So now that we've taken a look at this set, I do just want to touch on a few things that I think could be improved for future. The first thing being are these lights. Now, yes, they do look incredible, and it was my first experience building a Pantasy set that included lights. I do just want to mention that I found it a little bit unclear at times in the instructions, so they could do with refining that as to what you're meant to do with the light placement. Eventually, it took me a little bit of trial and error to actually get it set up properly, but hey, once they were installed, it looks great, let's be honest. Next is that minifigure. I know I mentioned it, but I just want to reiterate it here. It would be great if I could actually move the legs so he can get into some different positions. Hopefully this is something that they can add to future sets to come. So the last thing I want to touch on is the music for this set. I really like it and it definitely suits the jukebox. It brings it alive even more than it already is. However, I wasn't so keen on the fact that you had to buy the batteries separately. Perhaps Pantasy could provide the batteries for future sets, or maybe have some sort of music brick that is already got some batteries built into it. I just think it would streamline the whole process a lot better. So I quickly just want to touch on the price for this set. It is currently retailing for $119.99 USD, which I think is pretty fair because you are getting lights as well as music on top of what is already a very nice looking build. So for my final thoughts, if you're into your retro builds, I think this would be an awesome set to add to your collection. Pantasy have done a really good job at capturing that jukebox aesthetic, bringing back those nostalgic memories from the 1940s. It has some really fun play elements, which just elevates that whole building experience as a whole. I also think that if you're looking for something slightly different to build, that this could also be the set for you. It's including the lights and the music, which you don't often see with these brick builds. And it's more than just a display piece. It's very interactive. So overall, I think Pantasy have done a great job and there's a lot going on for such a compact build. So there we go, the Jukebox by Pantasy. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. And if you did enjoy the video, be sure to hit that like button and maybe consider subscribing. As always, I'll see you in the next one.